Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm glad you decided to join us for the next chapter of Discworld Noir. I'm very excited to present this. This is the point at which the mystery starts really picking up. Luton has acquired enough clues and enough information about people to start making his own interpretations. He has his own biases at this point, and so he will start actively pursuing the mystery. In addition, I am very excited to present our guest for this week, my friend Anoia. Hello.
Hello.
Glad to have you on. She is obviously a fellow LPer and Discworld fan, and we've been LP friends for a while now, so this is going to be awesome. By means of a brief review, we are again Private Investigator Luton, the only one in the city of Ankh-Morpork, a very cool character. We have been contracted to find a man, Mundy, by his jilted lover, Carlotta von Uberwald. There are various complications with that, but we did end up finding Mundy. He was dead, and, he was alive when we found him, but then we were knocked unconscious, and when we woke up, he was dead, which catapulted us right into Act 2, which is where we will begin. Okay, like I said, when we found him, he looked vaguely undead or something to me, actually.
The models can be kind of hard to tell on that front.
Yeah,
everybody's a
that
little
is
bit
true.
odd.
Yeah, honestly, Luton's looks the worst to me out of just about anybody.
I don't know, I think the Count takes the cake.
The Count is... I wish he would wear pants. I really do.
Oh, man.
I
You don't
daily
leave
wish.
until we've finished with you.
You know where my
This
office
angle
is.
is pretty unfortunate.
If you want an interview, you can find me.
Yeah.
It looks kind of
I
like the
consider
helmets
you
are
to
just
be
on
the prime
sticks.
suspect in this investigation.
Yeah,
You've
it
gotta
took
be
me
kidding.
a while to
I've
even
never
figure
been
out what
more
was going on.
serious.
I've really, again, got to see if I can adjust the gamma in this. I didn't find a way
I
to
was
do it.
unconscious.
Maybe I can do in like the whole,
We only have your
I don't know,
word
Windows
for that.
environment or
You
something,
could
but
have
the
killed
environments are
Mundy
just
and
so
then
dark.
knocked yourself unconscious.
Anyway, so
You're winning.
the Watch
You're pretty
obviously
serious
found
then.
us.
Yes, Nobby.
If you're
Will you
listening to us
explain
now,
what you think
you're
I
probably
did?
listening to
You
the
came
version that
in,
we have
mutilated
with
Mundy, and then knocked
the
yourself
sound more
unconscious.
muted.
Is that all?
And I think
There's
that
your
makes these
promotion
scenes
too.
with Vimes a
You
little
were
bit
really
better.
serious then.
Anoia and I were
Nobby,
talking a bit
you've made
before
your point, thank you.
that we
Shut
sort of
up.
agree that
How did
Vimes'
I knock
dialogue is
myself
good, his
unconscious?
actions are
I don't
consistent
know
with how he's
But you're
portrayed
not
in the
a
book.
complete
The
fool,
voice
Luton.
actor we're
You'd
not
have
quite
found
so
a
fond
way.
of.
Yeah.
To
me, he sounds like he's more appropriate for a cartoon rat.
Like a little Weasley guy, and that's just not Vimes at
always
all.
kinda
He's
serious.
You were
some
present
people think
at
he's
the
more
time
Clint
of the
Eastwood.
murder. Your
Pratchett
rope was
himself
used
thought
in
he
the
was
murder.
Goldthwait, something like
Pete
that.
Postlethwaite.
Yeah, Pete Postlethwaite.
His last name is hard.
Not a bad thing.
Wow, I
Commander
actually
of
mixed
the
that up with
Commander of the
Bobcat
Watch and-
Goldthwait, which is as bad as you can possibly.
That's very far removed.
How
It's
does
the
that
worst.
incriminate me?
It ends in
So,
LE.
but just briefly,
He could have been
we
trying
obviously
to
it was
write
bad that
Luton.
we were found
He could have
unconscious by the
died
body.
before he could finish.
However,
He could have
apparently
been trying
after
to
we
write
were knocked
Lemon.
unconscious,
And what is
Mundy was hung
Aziz
upside
supposed to
down
mean?
with
only
our
trying to
rope
help.
from our
For
grappling
all we
hook,
know,
and
Azzy might mean it was
Azil
in
is written on the
Mundy's own
wall. No
language.
one's really quite
For
sure what
all
that
we
means at this
know,
point.
Azil might mean help. Someone has
Yeah, it looks
gouged my
here.
eyes out.
You could
You're
read
just
this if you're being
guessing.
serious,
There must
as if
be other
Vimes
suspects.
is really
The
accusing him.
landlord says no one went
Vimes is
upstairs
certainly
after
suspicious,
you.
and I think,
It could
you
be
know,
the
that makes
landlord
total
who
sense
wrote
that he would be.
Mannequin.
That
He's not
he
the
doesn't
type.
like Luton. He
Anyway,
kicked him
he
off the
reported
force.
the
He thinks he's
incident
a
to us.
crooked
Listen,
person.
you've
A
got
crooked
nothing
cop,
on
I
me,
guess,
and
or an
unless you're
ex-cop,
going to
and he
arrest
found
me,
him
I'm going to
unconscious next
I'm
to a
keeping
dead
an eye
guy.
on you,
Now,
Luton.
I think
Consider
Vimes
yourself a
is
suspect
smart
for
enough to
all the
realize that there's
counterweight
something more
killings.
going on
If you're
here,
in any
but
way
I think he's still
involved,
very suspicious of
I'll
Luton.
find out.
So,
Don't leave town.
and you know, again, rightly
He's
so.
really got it
He's
in
not
for me, hasn't he?
totally an
Not a
up-and-up character.
bad person, Luton. He's just a bit.
Yeah, it would have been a lot
Yeah.
better if the voice actor
Psychotic, obsessed,
had
Yeah.
judgmental.
more
I
inflection
was
at
going
all.
to say overworked.
Right, as opposed to
I've
just,
changed
well,
my
I
mind.
don't think so,
What's this
Luton.
about counter?
I'm keeping my eye on you.
Well,
So, yeah.
This is in the strictest confidence.
We did get another neat clue that these things are
murders
called the
have all
counterweight
been
killings.
a bit
Oh,
in
I love this bit.
Odd. Redualistic.
Redualistic.
They are involved with the revival of philosophical principles.
You know Pratchett
concerning
wrote
the division
that.
of reality into two independent
Or at least
forces,
someone who
mind
is
and matter.
very much channeling Pratchett
no,
at the moment.
Redualistic. Like what cults do.
Oh, Nobby.
Ritualistic. I see.
He's like a
Like
horrible
someone was
Amelia
trying to
Bedelia.
make
He
a
gets there
point.
eventually.
Yeah.
He
One of
does.
the patrician's clerks was killed the other day.
Yeah.
Very suspicious.
So one of the patrician's
Why the
clerks was
counterweight
killed. That's
killings?
suspicious, not only because
we better not discuss
most
that.
people from
Gotta go.
Ankh-Morpork, unless
See you
they were
later, Luke.
desperate, would know
A
not
lot
to mess
later
with
will
the
do.
patrician or his retinue. And the patrician's clerks are also no slouches. It's implied. I think we said in the books that they're assassins, or at least able to fend for themselves. So the counterweight continent is a smaller continent. It's not where Ankh-Morpork is from. So people think that someone from that continent is loose in Ankh-Morpork, killing other people. Yeah, that's quite a turn-up. I don't like this room. I said this before. It's dark. It's a little pixel
Mundy's
hunty.
corpse wasn't very
The only
attractive.
thing I found the first time I was in
wasn't
here was
looking
you can look at
forward
the
to telling
bed.
Carlotta
That's not
how Mundy died.
exciting. You can look at Mundy's corpse, which is pretty brutal. You can look at the message in blood,
Someone,
and that's fine.
either the killer or Mundy,
And we
had
write that down
written
as a clue.
a
But there's
seal
actually
on the
two
wall
other
in
things
blood.
you're supposed to see in here,
Mundy's
and
blood,
boy, I just
presumably.
didn't get them the
I
first
had no
time.
idea what it meant.
The painting is not anything. I like to look at it just because it's just a
The
boring.
bed looked neither comfortable nor inviting.
This is kind of a crappy little room, but I guess that makes sense. I mean, Mankin runs a crappy little inn or whatever. There's two other things, and they just blend in
Yeah.
way too much.
Yeah, if
I could
nothing
tell
else,
it
the
was
lightning
art,
flashes help with the
because I
writing on the
couldn't
wall.
make out what it was
That is
supposed
true.
to be.
And that is actually referenced, you know, when they're having the dialogue earlier, so you can at least see that. But Mundy's boots is
killer
one of them.
had tied his
That's
legs
just a little
together
pixel
with
hunt.
my
You just have to.
It
Yeah.
was
Because
bad
it's also
enough
part
that
of
he
Mundy,
stole
you
my
might
rope
consider that Mundy's
without
body. I
implicating
don't
me
know.
in a gruesome murder at the same
Yeah.
time.
So that's what you get when you search or look at the boots, but when you search them, you find
Nothing. There should have
nothing.
been something in the boots, only there wasn't.
I don't know
was
why
pretty
he
sure
knows
that
there
the
should have been
watch
something in
didn't
the
search
boots,
them,
but
and that didn't leave many options.
I don't think we got any clues. Maybe he just has got his detective senses out or
Yeah.
something.
It's really strongly
but there's-
leading you there.
Yeah, that is true. There's one more thing in here. Frayed rope, way up there.
Uh,
Boy, I couldn't find that my
Looking
first time.
That
closely
plus
at
the
the
wall
frayed
texture
rope
is
hanging
just
from the
terrible.
rafters, I knew that Mundy
hard to
had
tell
been
what's in the
tied up
foreground,
by
what's
the
in the
legs, and then
background.
hung from the ceiling.
I don't know.
I didn't know
Whatever.
why. Frankly, I wondered if I really wanted to know why.
Yeah, it's not clear if you
Something
do.
very
know why
strange
you'd
was
want to know
going
why,
on.
Luke. Yes, so that is a number of clues. Now here, we actually begin to use a mechanic that has been available the whole game, but not useful until now, where we can combine clues with items or things we see in the scenes to get some more information. So if we
The
combine
frayed rope in the
frayed
rafters
rope
was the same
with
as the
Mundy's
rope around
boots,
Mundy's legs.
we
The
make
rope
the
that used
connection
to be
that they
tied to
are
the
the same
grapple.
thing. Now that's a
That
fairly
had to mean
obvious
that Mundy
connection,
was hung
but still.
upside down and then killed. And that meant
It leads
someone
us to the
cut him
fact that he
down
was
after
hung
he was
upside down and killed.
Curiouser.
So that's a
and
gruesome death. I mean, hung
curiouser.
upside down, eyes gouged out. That's
Oh yeah.
they're not messing around. It's apparently a ritualistic, although it's not clear to whom or what kind of ritual it would be or who the ritual is for.
I'd learnt that Mundy had been hung
But
upside down by his legs
combining the
before
fact
he
that
was
we
killed.
now know that he was hung upside down with the message in blood on the wall, we find something that I totally missed my first time through.
They
Well,
say
not
that
totally,
the
I had to
universe
find it
is full
eventually.
of
Yeah.
particles called inspirations. One of them hit me at that
Anoia, I think you
because
said
I
you
suddenly
realized that
realized
the
something
last
that
E
should
was a
have
3 or
been
something
up.
like that, just upside
If
down,
Mundy
which
was
is
hung
better than I
upside
did. I
down,
just thought it was a weird font.
And if Mundy wrote the message,
Yes, it is an
then the
upside down message.
Well, it's also a
upside
common
down.
thing for the
Turning it around in
murder
my
victim
head,
to write something in
I
their
could
dying
see
moments,
that
and
it
it's
read,
reversed.
Oh, sure.
3,
That
7,
is pretty common.
1,
I bet that's a
2,
reference to something.
V.
It
No, no,
wasn't
no.
a meaningless word after
There
all.
are a lot
It was
of
a
noir
meaningless
references
combination
in this,
of letters
in this
and
game, as we've
numbers
established
instead.
before.
Somehow that
Somebody
seemed
pointed out to me the
much,
BBC
much
recordings
worse.
of Raymond Chandler that I've been listening to. Really enjoying those. So, thanks. Anyway, that's all we can take from this room. But that's a good number of clues. So yeah, I'm gonna talk to our buddy
The
Mankin.
bartender was a half-elf called Mencken.
Oh yeah.
And I knew he wouldn't
I
appreciate
get the impression that
someone coming
Luton
into
is the
his
kind of
place and
person who would
asking
like
questions.
happily engage in
Fortunately, I didn't
racial
care what he
profiling. He
appreciated.
doesn't seem like he has many high ideals. I'm not. Yeah.
Oh, it's just
How
that
does
while
it
other
feel to be
races
a
have become more
suspect,
accepted,
Mencken?
nobody's
What?
ever gonna
You're
accept
an obvious
half-elves.
choice of suspect
Given
No.
because
that
you
elves are
called
just
the
bad
watch.
news.
Elves
You were the first on
are
the scene. Round
sociopaths,
here,
basically,
that
in
means
this
it's
universe.
practically a closed case.
They're
I don't see
portrayed
why.
as
You
not
were there when I got there.
being able to
I was
comprehend that
unconscious.
other beings
Well, I
would
heard
have
a
a
commotion.
conscience or
That's what made
a
me check it out in the
consciousness
first
like they
place.
do.
They're just
Maybe
playthings.
Monday managed to knock you out
Yes,
before he died.
and so
While he was
they're
tired and blind.
very good
Perhaps
illusionists,
he
and
said a
they make people
particularly
feel happy
offensive
and like they
word
like
and
the
I
elves, but then
fainted.
the elves
Well, I
will
happen to know
break
the
them
watch
for fun.
considers
So
you
you
a
don't
suspect.
like it when elves
Well,
get
don't
around,
forget
which
that I know something that they
leads you
don't,
to wonder
that
about
you're
how
a
half-elves
liar
get
and you
created,
can't
I
be
guess.
trusted.
But
Just because you
Probably
can't
not a happy
trust
story.
me doesn't mean no one
no,
can
there's
trust
probably
me.
some unsavory elements here. Mencken probably didn't have a happy childhood, so he gets
So
all of
how
the
do you think
negativity
having
of
a
looking like
murder
an
in one
elf
of your rooms
with
is going to
with
affect
none of the
business?
benefits
Pull in the
because he
goth
doesn't
crowd,
do
do
the
you think?
illusions and the
Shut
glamours.
up,
He's just
Luton. I don't
kind
feel
of a
like
jerk.
engaging in small talk. Not with you, anyway.
We do like antagonizing him though a lot, and it is, you know, Luton's so wound up he likes to wind other people up, I guess. So here, I guess this is still sort of a teaching
death, and there's something that doesn't
chapter.
add up.
We learn that if you find clues, you can bring them to people, and
When Mundy was killed, he was hanging from the ceiling, but when the watch turned up,
they
he was
will
on the
sometimes
ground.
open up
Maybe
other
the killer
dialogue
cut him
options.
down
That's
when he
a
was dead.
fancy little
I
scarf he's got
don't think
going on
so.
there, I've
Yeah.
got to say.
I think
I'd
that
noticed
message
that
was
before.
written by Mundy, and I don't think the killer saw him write it, which means
You can
someone
notice,
must have cut him down.
if you want to, that this is apparently 9 Whalebone Lane. That is written in reverse on the window back there. So who knows whether that might be important later.
Somebody who was in
Anyway,
that room
we
cut
bring up
Mundy
that
down.
he was hung
I don't
upside
think it
down.
was the
You can
killer, and
now.
I know it wasn't
This isn't a
me.
clue that goes
What
in
are
your
you getting
notebook.
at?
It's just a little
You cut him
one-time
down,
thing to
didn't
talk to
you?
Mankin
Why
about.
should I tell you?
That
I already told you. I don't
we
think
think
the killer
he
would
cut
have
down
him down,
Mundy.
which means if you cut him down, you're in the clear.
and
All
if
right,
you're
yeah, so I
wondering
cut him
why
down.
we
Happy
would
now?
care about that,
Not everything has a reason, Luton.
But people can usually find reasons for what
Maybe
they
he had
do.
a moment of
Well, draw
humanity.
your own
Felt bad for him.
conclusions.
I'm missing something,
not likely.
but I couldn't see what.
This is, we wouldn't get this dialogue option unless we had searched Mundy's boots.
Ouch.
Found nothing there, and so with that, we can bring
You
the
cut
final
down
piece of
Mundy
evidence
so you
we
could
need.
search him, didn't you? What are you suggesting? Nothing
That
worse than
this is
the
the kind of
truth.
guy who, when
You're
he
a
sees a
liar
dead
and a
body,
thief.
will quickly search
All right,
it to make sure there's
Oh,
nothing
yeah.
of value
What is it you
before
want?
calling the
What have I
guard.
got to do to get you to leave? Just give
Love
me
the strain
what
in
you
his
found
voice
in
there.
Mundy's boot, and I'll leave you alone.
You can really tell
Here, you want it?
that
Have it.
It's worthless
he
anyway.
hates
What
Luke. I
is
mean,
it?
he's
How the hell should I
yeah,
know?
he's
No,
trapped.
I kept my end of the bargain.
He's been
You
caught
keep
by us,
yours.
and he does
Leave
not
me
like it at
alone.
all.
We'll see, Mencken. I figure
You
I
know-
owe you at
immediately go
least
back.
one lie. Get out,
Uh-huh.
Luton. In my own time, Mencken had given me a small coin,
Yeah.
but it wasn't any type of coin.
So
I
we have
recognized.
a small
I guess
coin,
I should be
an
grateful to the
unusual
half-elf for
small
keeping the
coin.
clue away from the watch. But frankly,
So-
I just didn't like the
Half-elf.
little weasel.
That's right. Yeah, he's doing his best to hold up the bar, but not when
Does
we're around.
3712
I didn't mean to ask him about
anything to you?
3712V,
Leave me alone,
but
Luton.
it's worth a try. He has no idea what it means. Well, or if he does, he's certainly not willing to tell us about it. So, the only other thing I can think that he might know about is Sapphire. We've got some harsh
need to
words for
speak
her
with
after we
Sapphire.
found out that
Try and imagine how
Therma
much
was
I
not
care.
in fact buried
Look, is she here or not?
in
She's in her
Therma's
dressing room.
grave, at least according to Malachite, who we really don't feel like questioning. That's still a little bit of a mystery, how that would relate.
That's all for now.
Always a
but I
pleasure.
think we know enough to know it probably relates somehow. You know, I mean, our trail to find
Based
Therma led
upon
us
the real
here,
truth,
where
the
we
king
learned
of
about Madame
Ankh
Lodestone from
quells
Sapphire.
most boring
Additionally, it's just too much of a coincidence that Mundy would be hiding out here.
Self-defense method.
As usual, there's nothing particularly useful on the notice board. I just like reading, cycling through all of these.
Missing. Small dog.
Is that from the books, Mr. Huggy?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I thought the same.
It's really impolite to walk into a room without knocking.
So one thing I
what you miss out on when you
really
take
like
the time to
is
knock.
the portrayal of Sapphire in this game. I think I've said this before because
given her an opportunity to hide it.
Trolls aren't just uniformly the big dumb louts. I mean, she's certainly,
You startled me.
you know,
Didn't
like
Mother
for
tell
people
you
who
not
haven't
to walk
read
into rooms
Discworld, Sapphire could
unannounced?
definitely
Mother
like snap
told
us
me
in
to walk
half.
into
All
rooms with a
trolls are very,
crossbow.
very strong.
She
She's
was a
living rock,
sensible woman.
but
What you want?
she's
That's
much
quite a lot of
smarter than
money
say
you've got.
Malachite is.
What? Oh, yeah. Money. Yeah.
And what's
Where'd you
go
get
ahead.
it, Sapphire?
It's typically related to the
All
temperature.
that.
Like, the colder
Well,
it gets, the smarter they
see,
get. It's kind of like a
want it.
processor thing.
Want it?
Yes.
Yeah, and
At
so I think
casino.
some of that can relate
one?
to the
Saturnalia.
kind of material that the
Sapphire
troll is
gold
made out of.
there
The
often.
Diamond King of Trolls is made of
Really?
diamond,
Is it?
and because
a
that
good
flex heat,
casino?
I guess, so
Oh,
well,
yeah.
he's able
Good
to
as
keep a
casino
very
get.
cool brain,
You
be
should
very
go
smart.
looting.
Maybe
Sapphire
I
is obviously
will.
not made of a sapphire, but she is at least smart enough to, well, something is going on with that money. I'm not going to say she is necessarily lying about
So,
winning
how
it at the
things
casino,
been?
but
Things
I
way
think
they
she's
always
probably not
been.
telling us the whole
Slow,
truth.
dull.
We startled her
But you've
with
kept
having
yourself
the
amused, haven't
fighting
you?
her with the pile of
Don't
money.
know what you mean.
What's interesting to me about her is I'm never exactly sure how much she's playing
You
up the dumb
lied to
troll
me,
thing, or
Sapphire.
how on
Strung
top
me
of
along
things she
with that
is.
Madame
I don't
Lowstone
think she's a
story.
mastermind who's like in control of everything,
What?
but it's
No.
definitely true that
Sapphire told truth.
The troll
Yeah,
in
she's definitely
Madame
playing
Lowstone's
upon,
grave
preconceptions.
wasn't Therma.
How
Definitely.
You tell?
Malachite told
so
me.
here we're confronting
You
her
trust him?
about
He's too
Therma.
stupid to lie, and you're too smart not to.
Madam Lodestone.
Sapphire not smart.
See,
Big
Sapphire
dumb
not smart,
troll,
big dumb
like
troll.
all
Yeah,
the
no,
other
you're not
trolls.
fooling
Don't
anybody,
play
Sapphire.
games, Sapphire. I know you're smarter than the average troll, although I could say the
Looting
same
with the
about
casual
some
racism,
mushrooms.
of course.
Look,
Oh, the way he
Sapphire
says
don't
troll
know why
gets to
someone
me.
would
Troll.
switch bodies.
Is it? I think it's a
Sapphire
Welsh
just
thing,
trying
is
to
what
help.
people have been
She
saying.
was lying to me. I could feel it. She was obviously hiding something. but it
So,
was apparent I needed
just
to
like
know
we were
more
able
if I
to
was going worm
confront
it out of her.
Mankin earlier, it seems like with a few more clues we may be able to confront her about her lies.
So,
I do
you
love
won
the
this money
combination
at
of
the races.
cave woman and southern drawl with her voice.
No.
I
not
really like her
races.
voice
At
actress.
casino.
So did you
Oh,
notice there,
yeah,
Luton tried to
that's
kidnap
right.
Oh,
her,
yeah.
tried to
At the
trap her by
casino.
saying,
It's very
"Oh, you wanted the
crafty.
races." But she was a little bit too astute for that. Yeah,
You
you
heard
can
of the
ask most
counterweight
people about the
killings?
counterweight killings and get at least something interesting out of them.
Yeah.
What do you know about them?
Sapphire know they
However,
call
Sapphire
counterweight
doesn't have a
killing.
whole lot
Sapphire
interesting
know
to say.
People kill. That all Sapphire
So
know.
trolls aren't gendered, as far as I know. They just sort of arise out of the rock. So it's interesting that I feel like this happened in a later book with
It's one
a
of those
golem
things
eventually.
where, like dwarves,
It's like a
they eventually had
Mhm.
revealed they were females, and the same happened with trolls. I think actually
Yeah.
the female dwarves coming out triggered the female trolls coming out as well.
Yeah, I feel like there is a strong
How does it feel
instance
to be
of
working underneath where Mundy was horrifically murdered?
various identities being social
People die,
constructs
honey.
that you can see
It
in the
happens.
books.
Do
So
you know
that's
anything about Mundy?
just an interesting little
Sapphire
side
know
thing you have here.
you prime
Yeah,
suspect.
the book Monstrous
word travels
Resident
fast, doesn't it?
deals a lot
Yeah,
with
yeah,
female
that's what I was
entities.
thinking
Looting.
It's not so small.
Doesn't-
Anyway,
well, I won't spoil
gossip
that.
spreads
But,
faster the more people there are
yeah.
to hear it. It's
I think
fun
a
that way.
good number of the characters end up being female.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
Thanks for telling me where to find Malachite.
we're pretty much done with her. I feel like we might as well thank her
Paint
for
girl
leading us to
help out
Malachite.
friends.
Am I your friend?
We see,
I
honey.
forget who
We
exactly
see.
it is, but
Everyone needs
Sapphire is
friends.
definitely a callback to somebody in one of the Raymond Chandler Noir mysteries. So some of the lines that
I'll
she
be
says sometimes you'll hear people say things that
That's
sound
what
just a
my
little
old
out of
side.
character. If that's true, it's probably a callback to some noir film. There are a pretty good number of callbacks they have, which is kind of neat if you know enough to look for them. I don't know if Pratchett had any particular interest in that genre. I just know he does like a ton of research
Come to
for
persecute me some more, Luton?
Whenever he
A man's
does
gotta
a
have a
book
hobby.
in some vein, he really goes all out.
yeah. Well, that's really cool. That's one of the things I really like about his writings. So I feel like we might as well ask Mankin about Sapphire's money,
Where did
because
Sapphire
he
get
would
all that
presumably
money
be
from?
interested that one of his
ha. You never give up
star.
That's considered an asset in my line
So
of work.
sick of us.
Just
That
leave
one of
me
his star
alone,
performers has a whole
Luton.
hunk of money.
I'm sick of the sight of you. I'm sick of talking to you, and I am sick of all your
I'm starting to
damn
think he doesn't like
questions.
us.
Look, you know I'm not
And yet
gonna
he's
give
still
up.
talking to us.
Why not just pretend
Yeah.
you held out for a commendable
But
length
that's
of
life of
time and
bartender.
finally crack?
That's right.
It could be
You
our
have to
little
talk to
secret,
anybody who sidles
Luton.
up,
If anyone
especially in a
starts
pretty
saving up
empty
to
place
get an
like
assassin
this.
for you, let me know, will you? That's one cause I'd gladly give generously to.
In the meantime, what about Sapphire?
You know, we're just relishing every
Didn't
minute
even
of
know
this.
she
In
had
the
any
meantime,
money.
let's talk
She
about this.
claims to
other
have
stuff.
won it over at the casino.
At Saturnalia?
So
You've got to be kidding. If
he
Sapphire had a
confirmed
big
that she
win,
goes
the
to
whole town would
Saturnalia,
know about it by
but
now.
seems
No,
to doubt the
I'd
fact
be
that she would have
prepared
had a
to bet
big
it has
win.
something to do with
Thinks
whoever she met when she missed her
met
shift.
with somebody when she
Who did
missed
she
a
meet?
shift.
Dun,
No
dun.
idea. All I know is she missed her
Plot
shift because she had
thickens.
to meet someone.
Now,
Thanks
you'd
for your
think
help.
that with that you could go back
Oh,
and
it's
confront her
always a
now, but you
pleasure,
actually, there's
Luton.
another piece to the puzzle that we'll need to unveil. This, like I said, the mystery sort of accelerates during this chapter, and that's because while in the first chapter we were mostly situated learning the characters, learning who went where, you know, finding out facts and things like that. This chapter is much more involved
Have you
with
heard of the counterweight killings?
questioning
You mean,
intent,
have I heard
questioning
that there's an
truth.
unstoppable
you know.
assassin?
Yeah, I'm
from
noticing a lot more
counterweight continent
subsections in the
Ankh-Morpork,
notebook now.
And he's slaying everyone and
Yeah,
everything
that's
gets
going to
in his way.
expand, and it's going to keep
If you like.
expanding.
Oh,
Haven't
damn.
heard a
it-
thing.
It is good that we cross things out when we're done with them, because we end up, there's probably over 100 little things in there by the end. Anyway, we've got a new location, Saturnalia, the casino, and nothing else new, I don't think. So let's head on over. See
Saturnalia
what
was
it looks
almost
like.
legendary. The upmarket casino was situated on the King's Way and was frequented by the rich members of Ankh's high society and hopeful
I
social
think I've been over
climbers
this,
from
but
Morpork. It was
Morpork
a
is
temple
definitely
to
the
pride,
poorer
greed,
section
and
of the
avarice.
town. Ankh is
Like
ritzier.
any temple, anyone with money was welcome.
I don't know if organized crime has any part in the casino in
It doesn't really come
in
up
Discworld.
much.
I don't actually. Yeah, I think that might be something that they introduced more or less for this.
The last person I wanted
noir
to see was
theme.
Death himself, waiting to take
I like that
me
he
to
acknowledges
whatever
that the
hell
last
awaits
person
a
he would want to see
failure
was
like
Death.
that. But after
So,
Death, Ilsa was a
It's not that
ghost.
Ilsa was
My
literally
eyes
the
were
last
drawn
person
to
he
her the
wanted to
moment
see.
I entered the room,
Oh well.
and I decided then and there that I wasn't going to talk to her. The next thing I remember,
Luton has
I
got
was
poor
talking to
impulse
her.
control
Hello,
when it comes to
Luton.
Ilsa.
Still mad at me?
as soon as I
And
learn
notice
how to offer
the,
forgiveness, you'll be the first one to receive
Silly
it.
person
This
with
is
her
my
there.
companion.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a
Two
walking
cockers.
caricature or
Pleased
whatever.
to be meeting you.
It's
You are Remora
it's
Oh
Salati.
man, that's
Not
bad.
the last
it's
time I checked.
yeah.
This
Hello,
is Luton.
sir.
He's an
Well,
old friend
he's
of mine.
whatever. That's,
Why did he
that's two
think I was
cockers.
Remora
He
Salachi?
thought we were
We're
Remora
supposed to be meeting
Salachi,
him
which is
here.
What do you want
big
with an
misunderstanding.
assassin like Remora?
the
What are you talking
Salachis
about?
are the people we
I
broke
looked
into their
around to see
tombstones,
Remora
maybe not so
drawing a
good.
weapon.
And they are
Assassins
pretty
are
much
damn
more or less
good
assassins.
at what they do, but they're not allowed to kill innocent bystanders.
And what
I
do you
didn't
know?
if it was bravery or
She asked them to meet, and they
But I
came
decided
to a
to stand
meeting,
up
which is just a
and
terrible idea.
his target.
But
Interrupting an assassin while he was working was
Yeah.
a risky business.
this is not something that a rational, self-serving person would do. So I think we can sort of divine that Luton has maybe still got some feelings for
Oh,
Ilsa.
yeah.
Kill that woman.
Why
Because,
does any assassin try to
Yeah, this
kill
wasn't like a
someone?
rational
Who
move.
put a contract out on Ilsa?
Don't
The
you know
Assassin's
better
Guild
than to
is
interfere in official
fairly
business?
Why would
unstoppable
anyone want to kill
when,
Ilsa?
Do you
Well, if there's
a
expect me
contract
to
out on you.
discuss a confidential case with you?
There are
What
a
do you want from me,
few,
Remora?
very few
He's
characters
swift
who
to
have
death
managed to
And
avoid
a cheap
death by Assassin's Guild contract. Vimes is one of them.
He's,
Who was just a badass.
yeah, he's
in the
avoided it
books.
many times.
You're getting sloppy.
It was more or less routine by Snuff, at least.
Yeah, his estate is nothing but booby
Take you
traps.
out for free.
And I don't think they ever took a contract out on Vetinari.
Vetinari is a graduate of the Assassin's Guild.
Right. I guess they probably can't take contracts out on each other or something.
Yeah, he actually invented
Fortunately, there was
camouflage
nothing they
in
could
the
do to me
canon.
unless someone paid
Kinda
for
weird.
Oh,
the
nice.
contract.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's funny.
Actually, that wasn't strictly true. They
Awesome.
could tie me up and torture me for
Yes,
days
so
if they
again, that was a
wanted to, just as
horrible
long
move
as
that
I
we just
didn't
made.
die. It wasn't a comforting thought.
We've already
Who
got
was the
the
woman?
guard is mad at us because
What are you doing
Vimes doesn't like
I
us,
like
so
to
now
take risks.
the Assassin's
Isn't
Guild
that
as
what
well,
life is
so
for?
We've been-
official as well as
Taking
unofficial
risks to
channels
Yeah, we've
are.
been saying, gee, I hope nobody
didn't
hires
answer
an
my
assassin on
question,
us for a
you know.
while now.
Who
And
was the woman?
to me, it seems like
Why
Chekhov's
do you
assassin.
want to know?
It's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
Afraid you might have
yeah.
a
We've
rival.
been agitating
women
that
are
particular
rivals,
hornet's nest a
Luton.
lot.
She's not important.
So Carlotta
I see.
shows up
If you
and
decide to be honest with me, I'll be
seems
around.
fairly
It was the most
agitated that
unsettled I'd seen Carlotta
we
get.
were
I guess there was a heart
looking
in
at
that
Ilsa in that
cold chest
particular
after
way.
all.
So maybe we can divine that she has a feeling for us.
Yeah.
A
Hard to
roulette
say.
table set
Hard
in
to
one
say
corner
with somebody
of the
like
casino
Carlotta.
didn't keep my attention.
She is unquestionably a user,
The woman's name
and
is
someone
Ilsa.
fairly used to
She and
getting
I
their
used to be
way.
close.
What?
It's over.
Why are you
It's
telling
it's
me this?
hard to
I
say.
thought you might want to know.
I like how he
I
just
don't know.
readily gives this information up.
Monday's
Like,
dead.
none between us.
Dead?
Yeah,
Okay,
dead.
yeah, right.
Murdered.
It's all good.
And not a pretty sight. I'm sorry.
Don't be. I'll survive. You could have chosen
You
a
will
nicer
survive.
way to tell me.
I thought you might appreciate me getting straight to the point. Do you want me to
Oh.
stay on
She
the
said.
case?
Is that still a case?
I thought perhaps you might like to know who killed
Yeah,
Monday and
he's
why.
he's a bitter person.
Yes, I owe him that. You
I've said
can
I really
continue
like
with the
their
case,
interplay
Luton.
between Carlotta and Luke. I feel like they deserve each other in a
Do you want
way.
to know what happened with Monday?
That's what I'm paying you for, isn't it?
They're
Is
both
it? I'm
pretty
stunned.
exquisitely cynical.
Don't you like me, Luton?
What's
But yeah,
not to
speaking
like?
of Monday looking
You're
like a
woman
vampire,
like any
if you
other.
look at the
You look
croupiers
down
here,
on all
they're all
women,
kind
or
of
just the
off.
ones you know.
I have
Yeah.
plenty of distaste. to
Honestly,
go
just the
around.
models in general. I still think Luton's is the creepiest of anybody, but yeah, the croupiers. I don't know. The bald heads and the little puffy arms and all that.
Yeah.
The person who
So
killed
what would
Monday
Carlotta know
hung him
about?
upside down and poked
Yeah,
his
hung him
eyes
upside
out.
down and poked his
Can you
eyes
think
out.
of any reason they might have done that?
What? No. Why should
I
I?
don't know.
Well,
Maybe you know
knew
something.
Monday. I didn't.
Yeah,
I thought you might have an insight on it that I didn't.
maybe Mundy was really into that. So asking her that question lets us ask if she was the one that did it. I'm not sure quite how
Did
that
you kill
follows, but
Mundy?
that's how
What?
you get that.
What do you think I
dialogue
am,
choice.
Luton?
It's got nothing to do with what I think of
reaction
you,
is
Carlotta.
helpful.
But the Watch are
Yeah?
investigating, and if they find out about your connection with Mundy, you're bound to be a suspect.
Yeah,
So why are you asking me if I
I'm
did
not
it?
sure.
Let's just call it
The watch is in the books is quite competent by this point.
Would you turn me
It's
in?
not
That
entirely
depends.
clear how competent
what?
they are
on why you did
in
it.
the
You don't
game.
strike me
Now,
as a
keep in
moralist.
mind, there is
I'm a
something called
simple
the law of
man,
narrative
Carlotta. I
causality
have
that
simple
applies in the
ideas
Discworld,
of
which
what's
basically
right
says
and what's
reality
wrong.
warps itself to
The
fit a
trouble is,
narrative. So it's entirely
things are
possible
seldom
that
simple.
an otherwise
It's
very
always
competent,
somewhere in the
very
middle ground. I
in charge
try not to
watch
jump
would
to
be
conclusions.
literally
In
made
my line of
less
work,
competent
that can
by
get you killed.
the fact that
That
they're
must
now
be a
in a film
tremendous
noir
incentive to think
and they're
everything
supposed to
through.
be,
I
you
do
know,
my
the
best. You still haven't answered my question.
incompetent
Yeah,
people
they're the
getting
impediments
Luton's
that
way.
a detective hero.
Do you have an alibi?
Yeah,
I told her
Luton
what
has
murder
taken
took
the
place and asked her if
protagonist's
she
role
had
away
an
from
alibi.
Vimes, which
I
is something
wasn't
not
surprised
easy
when
to
she
do.
did.
It's a shame because I know I read in an interview one time. Pratchett was upset, he said, because
she was that kind of woman.
he felt
There are
like
witnesses who
Vimes
can corroborate
sort of
where I was.
any
And where were
crime
you?
novel that he
I was
wanted to
in the
do
Temple
basically
of
became
Small
about the
Gods.
Watch and became about
Spend a lot of
Vimes.
Yeah.
time on your knees.
And
to
he
your
almost
sister.
didn't like that.
We
I
all
really
need
feel
a
like he
little
could have got a lot of
absolution.
mileage out
For
of
your
Luton.
sins.
Everything I do
Well,
is
when
a
Vimes
sin
was
in
first
someone's
introduced,
eyes.
he was supposed to be the hardball detective. Like, he even starts out like
Oh yeah.
he's like drunkenly staggering through the city, talking about how it's like a woman, and then but then like
Right.
very quickly he got married and became the Duke, and that all just went out the
Heard of
window.
counterweight
Yeah, he became like
No.
Mr. Police
Monday's
Procedural
murder
basically.
looks like a
And
counterweight
I guess
killing.
Oh,
we've
thrilled.
got Luton here as being the reincarnation of that, more or less. Who is just a wreck.
Does this
himself.
coin
Which
mean
makes it
anything
funny
to
that
you?
he and
Nothing
Vimes are
springs
so at
to
odds.
mind.
It was
Yeah,
Monday's.
I really get the
doesn't
feeling
mean
even in
anything
here that they're kind of alike, Luton and Vimes a bit. I mean, you know, for all that Luton likes to feel persecuted, he sure is hard on the people that
What's the
are,
game?
you know,
Truncheon.
he doesn't
Interested,
really
stranger?
The name's Luton.
feel bad about
What are the
persecuting
stakes?
Mankin,
Minimum
for
stake is
instance.
$1 a hand. House limit is 10,000.
I like the
per
voice
hand.
actor for
I'm
this
in. Here's my
group,
dollar.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
Big
totally
spender.
ambivalent about the
World
voice
told
actor
me how
for
to
the
play
other guy at the
the
table
game.
who we'll be talking
Something
to
to
in a
do with
while.
the
It's
major
fine, I
arcana
suppose,
and the
but
private
it's just a
arcana.
weird choice for
The
me.
major arcana
It
had
fits his
strange
kind of
names like the
psychedelic
Fool,
robe.
The pirate,
Yeah, it does.
and the unbelievable
Yeah.
expense of a slice of cheese.
We'll meet him in a
Essentially,
second.
It seems
though.
I just had to stay under 21 and
Uh-huh.
get as high as I could. It all
So
seems
it's like
pretty whimsical
Blackjack
to
the
me.
tarot.
it's a whimsical world.
What happens in a tie?
That's very
I win.
Discworld.
That doesn't seem fair.
I'll note
I
that
like how
down in the
everyone is
complaints
super
book, shall I?
sarcastic.
Player thinks the
Writes down
odds
in the
might be
complaint
stacked
books
in
that
favor of the
player
house.
thinks the
I
odds
didn't
may be
really
in
know
fact
what I was
stacked in
doing,
favor of
but
the
I
house.
expected to lose
I gotta say,
my
some of these
dollar
subtitle
anyway,
color choices
so
are
I
unfortunate.
didn't worry about it.
Yeah,
But someone
dark
else at
blue
the
on a
table
black
seemed
background
pretty
is
worked
maybe
up about
not
what I
the
was doing.
easiest.
That isn't the way to play it.
And so
Why
here
not?
our friend
Because
gets a
it
little
isn't the way
upset.
to win.
Is there a way to win?
Well, there's a way to lose
There is
more
not a way to
slowly.
win. Not at
What's
the
it to
casinos.
you?
I've seen enough
I guess if you
losing.
could count cards.
I don't want to see any more.
I only bet $1.
Actually, the wizard
No,
is
no,
very
it's the
Spinal
principle
Tap
of the
in
thing.
accent.
What do you think?
I'm just a creep.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's a
paid to
really good
think.
way to put it.
I
I hadn't
lost
thought of
my
that. That's
dollar.
funny.
But I reckon I got
Yeah.
value for money. And hey, the cards were
But yeah,
pretty.
any guy in a dress is a wizard.
Yes,
Do you
that
own this
is,
place?
depending, of course, on the dress.
Saturnalia? Nah,
But,
you gotta be kidding.
Who
I mean,
owns
Mystic
it?
Robes,
I
of
don't really
course.
know. Probably
Right.
a whole group
Yes.
of people. For all I know,
Yeah,
no
a
one owns
Babel
it.
guard
It just
or
keeps
something.
ticking over all on its own.
Is that likely?
Frankly, I don't really care.
Just
as long as
figured
I
I'd
get
ask
paid,
about,
it's all the same to me.
Don't you
your
have an
job
inquisitive
here?
mind?
No, I find people with inquisitive
And
minds don't
Croupier
live
doesn't
too
really need an
long.
inquisitive
Oh, there's a
mind.
big hint.
Although that's, yeah. Maybe stop being. I feel like people try to give Luton a lot of hints, and he's not so good at taking them. That's part of his job description, though, I guess. So what we'd really like to know from him is about Sapphire. We'd like to know if it's true that she won a big windfall here, like she said that she did. Then he ought to remember it. He doesn't necessarily know about her
Do you
secret
know a
meeting. Let's
troll
find out
named
about
Sapphire?
the money.
Oh, I'm just a simple croupier. I wouldn't know anything important.
Uh-huh.
And if I did, I certainly wouldn't give it away for nothing.
I feel like
I
he's
guess
hinting
you
at
don't
something.
like to give away anything for free.
When you've worked in a casino as long as I have, you learn that you don't get anything for nothing.
Well,
This is our first bribe, isn't it?
fortunately, this is our first bribe. As is traditional for adventure
You know what
games,
this
we
is?
have got some money,
He looks like a purse.
which is enough
I
for
think I have something of
basically
yours in
whatever.
it.
It's hinted at, I suppose, that we don't have like a
Really?
lot of money,
Oh, yes,
which is why we
so
need
you do. And what do you
take
know?
jobs.
My memory is
But
suddenly
we
much
have enough
improved.
for bribes
I
and
thought
paying
it
for small
might be.
incidentals. and things like that. So, yeah. Boy, if you're named Whirl, I guess you almost
You
have
know
to
a
be
troll
I
named Sapphire,
don't know,
don't you?
do something turning.
Yeah, I know Sapphire. She's a good customer. Always plays with cash. Never wins anything. Some trolls aren't born lucky, I guess.
She never
Yeah.
wins.
She wins a little, but she always loses it again.
So she
Can't hold
is
on to
a
money.
terrible
Few people
gambler.
can in this place. By the time she walks out the door, she's always
She
a
has
loser.
so much money.
Is there any chance she could have won big and you wouldn't know about
Mm-hmm.
it?
If she won it here, I'd know about it.
Yeah, crazy how that works. The money that she said that she won here, which she clearly did not win here. In fact, she's been on
I
a
reckon a lot of
long
meetings
time
must go on
losing
here.
streak.
I reckon so.
Anything interesting you can tell me about?
Sorry.
Any way I can make you less sorry?
Listen, Lowton. Saturnalia is home to 100 meetings a night. Some secret, some
And
not so
I
secret.
thought that
The
he
one
might
thing
have
that
some
folks can be
information
sure
about
about
the secret
is
meeting
if
that
they
she
wanna
had,
meet
but
in secret, they
apparently
get
this
in
is where he
secret.
chooses to get hardcore about
Well, it was
what's part of the point of a casino.
Yeah.
It's,
so it was clearly more secret
Time
than
to
here.
excuse myself from the
yes,
table, I think.
right. he's at least saying
War was the most
it's
depressed and
apparently
jumpy wizard I'd met.
worth
Maybe hanging
more
around
than
a casino did
worth
that
more
to
than
a
his
man.
job to go talking about all the meetings that he might see here. He doesn't pay attention to
seem
them,
to
and
get
that's.
worked
He
up
said
over
earlier
my
he didn't have an
gambling.
inquisitive
I'm not
mind,
as
so that's just the kind of
easygoing as I
person you
used to
get
be.
here.
You're a wizard.
Wow.
And
you're
this
sharp.
guy,
What tipped you off?
we
The
don't
gown?
need anything in
The
particular from him, but he will be. It is.
Look, I
If you
just
can
thought
cultivate
you
a
might
wizard
want
as
to
an
talk.
acquaintance,
You
that's
tried
probably
to
never a
help me at
bad
the
thing.
table, and I thought I'd
So-
make amends for being so rude to you. Sorry,
Yeah.
I tried.
Visiting
No,
Unseen
wait.
University to ask questions is not a good idea.
I'm like, sorry.
No,
friend.
visiting Unseen
It's just
University,
I'm on
unless
the
you are
edge.
actually
name's
a
you
wizard
two.
or have an
I'm
excellent
sorry.
reason for it,
We
is
haven't
probably
been properly introduced.
not
My
recommended.
name is Warb.
Hey, Warb.
B-L-L.
BL.
Is that a word? Orb?
Well,
I feel like it might be something to
Bachelor
do
of
with
Eldritch lace
weaving or something like
Eldritch
that.
lace
no.
making.
Just an
Don't
awkward
ask.
name.
Yeah, it is. Well, he is an awkward guy, for sure.
You a regular in here then?
I guess so.
Interesting.
I'm not very
Now,
lucky.
Warb
I thought all
apparently
wizards were
means
lucky. Whatever
a
gave you
dirty
that
or
impression?
insignificant
Do you
person.
know how
well,
many bizarre and
very
unpleasant
fitting
ways
then.
there are for a wizard
There
to
it
lie
is.
inside the
He's
walls of Unseen
just kind of a
University alone?
little
One
guy that
false
doesn't make
implication
much
as
of a
you're summoning
difference.
demon,
Kind of a
and
loser that hangs out in a
drag
casino and
your
doesn't
lunch
gamble
for
well.
some pit fiend with more tentacles than legs and fewer arms than heads. Or spend too long in the wrong area of the library and poof, you disappear.
Yeah, Unseen University
All
isn't
that you
the
leave
safest place.
behind is a statistic.
Don't you like being a wizard?
I actually
It
haven't
always
read
seemed
many
like
of the
a
wizard
glamorous
books,
profession
so I
to
don't know
me.
as much about
There's
it as I
nothing
might.
glamorous about
I really like
wizardry.
this line.
Well,
There's nothing glamorous
except
about
for
wizardry
glamour.
except for the glamour.
Glamours?
It's
which
an
are-
elvish thing.
Well, thank you very much.
It's actually a pretty cutthroat, I guess you could say, society where positions are held until death.
If you're so
and
unlucky,
I
why
see.
did you come
Wizards
here?
live a long time
I haven't
unless
lived a lucky
someone
life,
aspires to their
but-
position.
I see,
Yeah.
I see.
I don't know. I guess I feel that in here, I at least
that
have a
makes sense.
chance.
But the odds are always stacked against you. The house always has the advantage.
Warb's got
Let
a
me tell you something, Lupin.
pretty
The
dim
house
view on
always
the
has
world
the
here,
advantage.
which we can
Here,
see.
out there, it doesn't make any difference. At least
I
in
feel
here,
like-
you know
I feel like
who
being
the
in
house
institutions
is.
of higher
That's
learning
a
can do
pretty
this to you.
stark
Yeah.
outlook.
If you're there long enough,
Ever
you
made
just
a
get this
decision
really
that
like
affected
fatal.
your
Like I know
whole
some
life?
people that are this
Ever
way.
done something that throws
Just
everything
pretty
into question?
No,
fatalistic.
I don't feel in that much control of my life.
None of us
Just
are.
think, well, the whole world's just a big ol' grad school, and we're all trapped in it forever.
That's dark.
That is dark.
So you work up at Unseen
Unless you can get a grant,
University.
which is then.
I was
life is good.
trained there. Once I got my degree, I moved on.
But you're still a wizard. I thought all you guys were under the jurisdiction of the
So he actually got his degree
Yeah.
It's rare
I
they
work
leave.
for Unseen
in
Securities
Eldritch
now.
lace making, whatever that
Unseen
is, and now he
Securities.
works for a securities company.
We make
Magical
magical
securities.
security systems. Very
So I guess he's
exclusive.
more of a tradesman
expensive.
than a.
Oh yeah. Hardly anyone
researcher
can
or
afford
anything
our
like that.
services.
Still, it's entirely possible that knowing somebody that makes magical security systems
your
may
bad
come in
luck
handy
common
for a
knowledge?
snooping detective.
Well,
So
Hopefully.
pretty much everyone
It's
knows
good
I've
that we
got a
know this
losing
guy, I guess.
streak.
something
Anyone
that I
else
do
famous
like
for their
is
losing streak?
there isn't like one dialogue
well,
option
the
that's like
Sapphire,
now you're friends
she's
with
not
him.
very lucky. Other
You
than
just
that, no
you
one
sort
springs
of
to
you
mind.
sort of naturally talk. I think the game does a really good idea of anticipating who you're going to talk to and how you're going to feel about them, so that if, say, for instance, later we reference Warb as being somebody
Heard of
that
the
we don't
counterweight
consider him a
killers?
close friend, but we
Heard
kind of
someone
know
in
him and we
Unseen
know that
University got
you know,
killed by a
he,
spy, but I
he
don't really like
thinks
know
that
anything about
we're
it,
an
you
okay
know.
guy. Like maybe he doesn't have a ton of friends. That makes sense.
Maybe I'll see
Yeah,
you
as
later.
fatalistic as he is, he's at least pretty open to us.
Can we talk? Or
Yeah,
do I
he
have to
seems like a
play
decent
that
guy.
Stupid game again.
I feel like I forgot
Business
to
is
ask him
slow,
one thing.
We can talk.
So let me just pop open the notebook here. What do you know about the counterweight killings world?
Sure, and I only have one thing to say about them. I'll
That
place
is a
good money
very
that the
interesting
patrician's
bet.
Next.
Any reason?
The
Just a
patrician would
hunch.
be, I would think, just about the hardest person to off.
Well, if a clerk's been killed.
That is true. I mean, they're clearly getting close to him,
Mm-hmm.
but the patrician is a step away from that again. You know, seeing Carlotta made me remember
Sir
that
Who would Sir
we
like to
found
see?
out from the butler last time that the Count had
Is Carlotta home?
Alas, no.
companion,
What a shame that Sir's
and it
trip
was
has
sure
been
would be nice to
wasted.
know a little bit more
Perhaps Sir
about
would
that.
like to leave now.
Oh,
Tell
Butler
her I
wants us to
called
leave.
by.
No, we're
Why,
not going
my
to do that.
loins stir at the very
I
thought
feel like
of
we have
serving
this
you in
stable
way,
of people
sir.
that just sort of low-level hate us.
Is
Oh,
the
it's
Count
great.
More or less
receiving
constantly.
guests?
No.
I
The
love
steady
that
stream
But
of
he will
loathing is
see you.
perfect.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
Well, here's that character model.
Luton. I was hoping
I do like his voice actor.
Yeah.
by.
You don't sound so good, Count.
He
I
does a good job
not
of sounding
the man I used to be, that is certain.
sort of on the edge.
Past my prime, you might say. Yes, past my
A
prime.
little creepy
I
too.
could come back
Yep.
later if you want.
No, no,
But
there
most
is
of the
no
Von
guarantee
Eberalds
that
are.
I will be getting any better.
Yeah,
If
that
anything,
sort of comes with the
I
territory.
might be worse.
They're sort
Your
of
health?
Frankenstein's,
We
not the
are
monster,
both
but
men
the
of the world, Mr. Luton. I will not
mad
mince
scientist a bit, or
words with
the
you.
despotic
I
count,
am
or the
dying.
whatever.
I might
I'm
last
surprised there's no
another year
Igors
or so,
around.
or I
That's
might
true.
not last the week.
Maybe they
That
hadn't
to think
gone
I
into them
thought
at this
on
point
it could be.
in
would
the
good
series.
for my
So
health.
Not
I'm sure
too
there's
many
one
people would
lurching
believe
around
you,
somewhere.
Certainly.
Let us dispense with the pleasantries and
So
get
straight to business it is.
Yes, yes, straight
Yes,
to
okay.
business.
First is that we found Monday, and I guess he probably doesn't care much about that. What we really want to know is about his companion. Yes.
Your interest in the Mundy case wouldn't have something to do with your missing companion, would it?
Why, Mr. Luton, I'm impressed.
And detective skills. Really what he's got is an
You
over-talkative
have
butler,
some
but
detective skills.
What's the deal?
He was my friend, perhaps my
poor
last
Count. One friend.
He was a dwarf of simple tastes, and when I was younger, he drove.
Of course, who knows where this dwarf is?
These days, given that I am confined to
His name is
the
Regan,
conservatory,
apparently.
I have no need for a driver, but I kept raking on the payroll so that I should have someone to
Oh,
talk
that's just
to.
sad.
When did he go
It is
missing?
sad.
3 days
Although
ago,
whatever the Count
he
wants to
took
talk
the
about, I can't
carriage out
imagine.
that night and has not been seen since.
And you
So,
thought Carlotta might have employed
that's,
me to look for him.
Sure,
I was
coincidence. 3
hoping,
days ago seems to be the time
You
that
could always
everything
employ me to
happens.
find him.
Wouldn't that be a conflict of interests?
I don't see why. Anyway, there isn't a conflict of interest that I know about that couldn't be solved with a generous cash settlement.
Be assured that if you can
So
find
we're
Regan, I
squeezing a
can
lot of money out of the
offer you
Count, which is good for us, I suppose.
substantial
We gotta
Then I'll see what I
do a
can
lot
do.
more bribes, I
The
guess.
Count gave me an
Yeah.
iconograph of Reagan
Well,
to
we've
help
got
my
a
investigations.
new
My mind
avenue
was
that's
already
opened up
racing.
yet.
3 days
Um,
ago, the Milka arrived.
We've got the
3
Milka
days
arriving.
Ago,
We've
Reagan
got
disappears.
Regan disappearing.
Now, I believe in coincidences.
We've got
Coincidences happen every
an
day,
alibi
but I
by
don't
the
trust
Countess to investigate.
coincidences. Something deeper was
by
going on
Carlotta,
here, and
I
I
mean.
was going to find out what. Because I can't
We
stand a secret.
have...
And because I
What
have
else?
A
Oh,
burning
we've got
need to find the truth.
Sapphire's
But mostly because there was
story.
A wad of
Yeah.
money
So
for me
really,
if I found
there's
out.
3 things we could do. We could find more about Regan, we could find more about Carlotta, or we could
I'll
find
be
more
back
about
later.
I
Sapphire.
look forward to
As with that picture, I'm not gonna say all dwarves look the same, but it looks familiar.
That's fairly dwarfy. Yes. So, I think I will actually leave the choice of what to do next up to you. Thanks again to Anoia for joining me. It was a blast. So, who knows? We may join up again in some future update. For now, simply vote for your choice of next destination, whether that be Carlotta, Sapphire, or Regan, and I will catch you guys next time.
Later.